Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Jack, the snack that smiles back. Thanks for joining us today. Let's get straight into it. Am I the a-hole for wanting to tell my brother's fiance about the tracking app he secretly installed in the new phone he bought for her? Pretty much the title. My female 22 brother, who is 27, is currently engaged to his fiance, who's 25. He bought her a new phone for Valentine's Day and asked my boyfriend, who's trained in computer and software, to install a hidden tracking app on the phone so his fiance won't see it or notice. I overheard them talking, and when I entered the room, they went silent. I waited till my brother left, then talked to my boyfriend. He denied having this conversation with my brother first, then admitted to installing the app on the phone. I told him he and my brother were in the wrong because this is a huge breach of privacy. He said he has nothing to do with it and advised me to stay out of it as well. But I said I want to tell my brother's fiance. My boyfriend argued with me about being nosy and intrusive and told me to stay out of it and let them deal with their own issues. But I thought that was unfair to my future sister-in-law, since she's the one working, paying bills and rent, and this is how she is treated. My boyfriend told me to get the frick out with this attitude, and again, said I should stay out of it because it does not in any way concern me. I don't know. I feel horrible after hearing about what my brother did, and since I have a good relationship with his fiancé, I can't help but feel guilty and wanting to tell her. Am I the a-hole for wanting to tell her? Sir, look into these glowing balls and understand the hypocrisy in your logic here. My boyfriend argued with me about being nosy and intrusive and told me to stay out of it and let them deal with their own issues. So what's a tracking app, if not nosy and intrusive? Hey, what's that all the way in another fucking country? Oh, it's logic! Clearly not here right now. Before I even read the comments, I think it's very clear to suggest that, maybe get a new phone of your own too. Because if this is the way your boyfriend is reacting to the fact that he's been caught out supporting and personally installing tracking devices in her phone, what makes you think he hasn't done it to you? But I will also offer a suggestive theory. This obviously still falls on the boyfriend for his stupid way to argue why she shouldn't have to be a part of this. But what if the fiancé has been partaking in behavior and displaying behavior, as well as suggestive evidence that she may be cheating? If you were in the brother's situation and you felt that you had a close friend who you could trust could install something like this to put your mind at ease, would you do it? Again, you'd have some decent degree of evidence that there is something sus. Would you put in the tracking app? Or would you sit back and just have faith that it is not what you were suspecting? While you ponder on that, let's look at the comments. Top comment says, Natar, tell her, but also have your phone checked out because your boyfriend is throwing out crazy red flags. And yeah, the OP. Wow, this actually never occurred to me. Also seeing several comments saying the same thing. I'll definitely be checking my phone. My boyfriend tends to do things that cause me to side-eye him sometimes. This one is definitely not okay. Please give us an update. Also, fun fact in the comments, apparently this is actually against the law. To skim it down, there's no ambiguity. Installing software on someone's phone without their permission is a felony. Of course, it can be argued that he's likely not going to be charged just for doing this one thing. Which is also an interesting revelation to just how far behind the law is when it comes to cybersecurity and law. Now, sadly, there's been no update. I mean, it's only like a day old. Still, it does concern me that the boyfriend had no other argument as to why he did this other than, just mind your own business. To quote a rather outdated internet trend, he's sus. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother that his and his fiance's choices for their wedding are offensive and ridiculous? My brother is getting married and he's excited to share details with us for the wedding. We are all offered to help whenever they needed to. At first, I was excited to help until I found out what kind of thing the wedding will be. Now, not one person in my side of the family is excited to help with the planning and the wedding in general. First of all, in my family, we honor traditions. My brother claims he's not traditional, and neither is his fiancée. So, tradition will play a small role in their wedding, but their wedding won't be centered around it. That means no traditional music or practices we have regarding the ceremony or even the reception. I told him it's terrible to do a non-traditional wedding when most of our family are people of tradition, and he shouldn't expect people to enjoy the wedding if it's like a club. He said that's not his problem to deal with and that whoever doesn't like it can simply not attend. This ticked me off because weddings is also about families, and he doesn't seem to take our opinions into consideration at all. He also decided not to invite many relatives, and chose to keep his budget low, and decided to take relatives off the guest list so he could invite more friends. My mother, father, and I tried to talk him out of it, but he said the next time we try to police what he'll do with the wedding, he'll consider removing us from the planning and anything related to the wedding. I tried to talk some sense into the bride, but she wouldn't give me a straight answer. Whenever I tried to speak with her, she would only say stuff like, "We will see," or "We'll think about it." My brother cussed me off for trying to put his fiancée in an uncomfortable position and claimed that I'm trying to guilt trip and manipulate her. I told him that I can't support and be okay with his wedding choices and plans because they're offensive to our family and that they're being ridiculous by removing everything traditional from it. He claims I'm an a-hole. So tell me, everybody, is this person an a-hole for trying to tell people how to do their wedding because they don't like how it's being done? Wonder. This is an interesting flip around to the other wedding story where the sister is causing issues and is trying not to cause issues. In this case, the sister is not trying to cause issues, but is causing issues. Top comment highlights my disappointment. Initially, I thought you were going to tell us that your brother was doing something very offensive, like having a plantation wedding in blackface. But the only thing your brother and his fiancée want to do is have the wedding they want. You're the a-hole, and if you stop trying to push your choices on them for just a little while, you might find that you can enjoy the wedding if it's like a club. And right across the board, I cannot find anyone who genuinely supports this person's thoughts. Yeah, look, I get it's become the generational norm to, well, challenge tradition. In a way, ironically, it is our generation's tradition to dislike traditions. In fact, the whole existence of weddings themselves are just based on a tradition. In case anyone's unaware of it, you can easily get married just by paying $70 to your local council area, and they just sign a piece of paper, they have people who watch you get married, and you're done. Anything more you spend is purely because you feel pressured to spend it, or because you want to try and show off to your friends on Instagram. Like weddings, like businesses that work around weddings are purely driven and only survive based on your vanity. Now that said, I do feel there is a sense of responsibility here still. Of course, the idea that, look, it's your wedding, you do it how you please. But the way the brother acts here, it kind of comes across that they're purposely trying to avoid the tradition just to annoy their family. It's not so much the wedding of their dreams, but more the dream being seeing their family despise and hate them for not sticking to the rules. I mean, removing relatives who would find this a really momentous occasion just to let your friends come instead. I don't know. Personally, if I was in this situation, I'd do something more along the lines of have the actual wedding, again, however you want, but still at least let your relatives come. Your friends, I guarantee you see your friends very often. You can easily organize some other shindig to do with them. Of course, that is also based under the assumption that you have a good, healthy relationship with your family. I mean, if this family has traditionally been a complete a-hole to you, then, you know, do what you want to do. So despite it obviously being you're an a-hole to try and push your own opinion onto the wedding, do you think the brother's still completely in the right here? Completely free to just, give the finger to his family if they don't like his choices? Am I the a-hole for asking my friend to move out when she told me to put a shirt on? Bit of a funny situation here, but frustrating nonetheless. For a bit of context, I, 24-year-old female, grew up in a household where nudity was never really seen as that big of a deal. I saw both the men and the women in my family walking around shirtless sometimes, and if you happened to walk in someone was changing their clothes or showering, you just say sorry and move on with your life. Nudity was never seen as something embarrassing or taboo in my family, nor was it ever sexualized. And I guess I grew to view it the same way, as I don't think there's anything weird or shameful about looking at a human body. Now, I live in a small apartment in the city, and about a week ago, I agreed to let a good friend of mine, 23, female, stay with me for a while. She's in her last year of university, but recently got kicked out of her university's dorms. And since the rent prices in our city are pretty ridiculous, living with me was her best option. The thing is, I sleep without a shirt on at night, and when I get up in the morning and go to the kitchen to make breakfast, I don't usually bother to put a shirt on. I pretty much walk around the house naked from the waist up for about 30 minutes while I go through my morning routine. Brush my teeth, feed the dog, eat breakfast, etc. I do eventually put a shirt on when I start getting ready to go out, but there's still 30 minutes or so of Bwbs every morning. And this bothers my friend a lot. She's always nagging me to put a shirt or a bra on and says it weirds her out how I can just walk around naked where she can see me. I explained the whole situation to her and assured her that there's really nothing intimate or strange about it. It's just what I'm used to and how I feel most comfortable. She kept insisting though, and today I jokingly told her that if she doesn't like it, she can just move out. I made it clear that I don't actually intend to kick her out, but I guess she still got really upset by that comment since she hasn't said a word to me this morning. Am I the a-hole? I know it's a bit petty, but it's also my apartment. How are you going to live in someone else's apartment rent-free and complain about something as stupid as them not putting a shirt on when you want them to? So I'm not really going to add much myself here. The top comment absolutely nails this. A lot of awards for a valid reason. Softita. I see this as a massive feminist and someone comfortable with nudity, but you are forcing nudity on her without her consent. Yes, you are doing her a massive favor, but did you pre-warn her that a condition of that generosity was daily nudity? I have a best friend who is very uncomfortable with her bare breasts and several who aren't. I don't force her to see my naked breasts because I love and respect her and want her to be comfortable. Me covering up doesn't make me uncomfortable or inconvenience me. I just make sure I've got my bra or top on by the time she comes over, or make sure I change in a different room when we travel together. It's a very small change that doesn't hurt me, but means a lot to my friend. It's your house and your hill to die on, however. Is it really worth making a friend homeless because you didn't want to chuck a t-shirt on for a friend? I know Reddit absolutely loves a black or white, my way or the highway, my house, my rules situation, but I'm an old lady and I just don't see the point in ruining a friendship for a small compromise. Do you have to? No. Could you? To be kind and accepting to someone who is meant to mean something to you? Yes. Especially when it's just 30 minutes of your daily routine. You're only naked, topless, for 30 minutes. Does it kill you to spend 30 seconds of your morning just to put on a shirt? And hitting the nail on the head, all these comments are definitely saying Natar, because your house, your rules, it's boobs, who cares? And look, I'd love to live in a world where we can not just sexualize the chesticles of a woman purely because they're a woman's. I'm a straight male, I like boobs, but I also hate the fact that we shove them in our faces when it comes to media and stuff. I genuinely believe that as a guy, the only reason I find sexual attraction towards a woman's chest is because it's been drilled in my head growing up in this society. Not to get all anarchist in here, but I do agree with the fact that boobs are very overrated. And as much as I'll woohoo when I see my girlfriend getting changed, I still think a woman should be allowed to go to the beach in nothing but swimwear undies and not be harassed or oogled at. That said though, we don't live in that world. And even women are pressured to view boobs and nipples as some sort of sexual object. And not everyone has the same degree of modesty as you. Their standards of modesty don't match with yours all the time. Sure, your house, your rules, but also your friend. Do you not respect them? Feel free to explain if I'm wrong here, but like, how is this any different to one's own religion? If my friend is practicing their religion in the living room while I'm there and I decide to go turn on the TV, play some loud video games and stuff, sure, my house, my rules, but am I not disrespecting them? Am I the a-hole for selling my roommate stuff for the money he owes me? I'm a 19-year-old male, and I'm a college sophomore, and my roommate, 20-year-old male, is a college junior. The both of us rent an apartment and evenly split grocery and food bills and have separate rent and utility bills. We both have to pretty much support ourselves, or so I thought, through college and are generally pretty strapped for cash all of the time. Around 5 months ago, my roommate came to me and pretty much asked me to pay for his rent for that month, around $1,000. And at the time, I had the cash to spare. Generally, when I pay for something for him, he pays me back within the week. However, although I asked to be repaid at least once a week since the initial loan, I never got my money back. Whenever I asked, he said something like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll send it here in a bit, hold on," but never did. If he would have said that he didn't have the money or something else along those lines, I would understand and have given him more time. But he never said anything like that. Recently, I found out that my roommate has a sizable trust fund specifically for classes and rent, and still has access to plenty of money in that account. I also recently had to service my car, which I have to get to classes and my work. However, I did not have enough money to pay for my vehicle, around $800. So, I once again asked my roommate to be repaid, to no avail. So, in order to maintain my livelihood and class attendance, I took my roommate's Xbox One, controllers, multiple games, and his TV, and sold them online to pay for my car. My roommate was obviously upset about this, but I told him not to worry about it and that he could consider his debt paid. So am I the a-hole? Well, if I was a girlfriend mad at my typical gamer boyfriend, then yes, you are not the a-hole. But this does become the question of at what point does someone's debt towards you require you to take matters into your own hands? OP does make an edit here. I should clarify, my roommate didn't need me to pay for his rent, and apparently has around $100,000 in his trust fund, with a year and a half left at public university. So it is revealed that he's pretty well off. So what do you do here? Do you justify the, sales? Because he has the money, clearly he could have paid you at any time. You're the one suffering here, you were the one in financial turmoil all along. Well, the top comment so far says, it doesn't matter if you're the a-hole or not here. You committed theft, and you sold someone else's belongings. Forget your tar, you're the thief and can be in huge legal trouble if he decides to retaliate because in the eyes of the law, you are in the wrong here. I hope you have the money to pay him and his lawyer with his belongings that you sold, and you will owe him their value plus more. And OP updates that apparently they actually gave him the rest of the money that he owed him, around $300, which, okay, that doesn't change that if he decides to, he can legally retaliate and demand that money and more from you. What's your game plan if he does that? I sincerely hope you aren't aiming for a job that requires a squeaky clean legal record. OP, actually I'm planning on going to law school. Lamau. Wow, dude, you... Well, this is going to be one work experience you can't pay for. They do justify it by saying, I figured that without the money for my car, my hopes of graduating would be out of the window anyway. So frick it. And everyone sucks here. You committed theft and he could take legal action against you. Your frustration is warranted, but absolutely not worth risking your future over. And yeah, those who decide with Natar, mostly kind of on the moral aspect of it. Because yeah, what you did was illegal. Gosh darn, if we were in that situation, I'm sure a lot of us would... we'd get desperate. I think this is just a great example of learning how to put your foot down and be adamant about debt. Also a great lesson as to why if you're friends with anyone in their early mid-20s and they ask for money, don't give it to them. Seriously, I don't think I've ever heard or read a story of anyone saying that I gave money to my friend that was more than $50 and they paid it back pronto. It never happens. Stop doing it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to end today's story. Of course, thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here today. If you did enjoy the content, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know your thoughts down below as well. Yes, I know, no Emily, very sad. She's still out on the 7 seas slaying krakens and the like, so she'll be back on with us at some point. In the meanwhile, make sure you drink your water, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!